Yeah, we're still in Villamora. We're not even drinking, but we're here. Having a lovely day, aren't we? It's gorgeous.
Yes, we are.
It's gorgeous.
We are. It's beautiful.
Well, today we're going to talk to you about second marriages. Would you get married again?
Third,
fourth?
How many times?
Yeah, but would you get married again? So you've been through a long thing. What do you reckon? Are you saying no and then waiting for Mr. Right to come along? Who knows? Never say never. I don't know. My cousin Marianne. Hi, Marianne.
Hi, Marianne.
She was married again a few years ago for the second time and is blissfully happy. And I don't think she would have ever done it again, but then it just happened. And she is, she's in love, aren't you, darling? Which is marvellous.
Love that.
Marvellous.
Love that. So would you get married again then, Dawn? How many times have you been married?
Several. No, well, I've been married. I've had 2 weddings, but then I was with someone else for 16 years.
Oh, okay.
And then after, as well as my 2 weddings.
Right.
And then I've been with Rod for over 10 years.
Okay, but you've not actually gone through the ceremony of actually getting married. So you're kind of married, but not.
I pick his dirty knickers up off the floor, so yes, of course. That's what it feels like.
Of course.
So would I get married again?
So if Rod was to ask you then...
To say, do you want to get married?
What would you say? Because there's this whole thing of it not just necessarily being about love, but it can be about pensions, can't it? Tax.
Oh, for all of
and
that
stuff like that. So property, blah, 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 blah. So if it was to be more beneficial for tax reasons and property reasons, would you? Or would you marry for love?
Me personally, I don't know. I wouldn't want any kind of fuss or anything. I want to maybe piss up with a few mates in a big restaurant.
Definitely want to piss up.
Yeah, but
because you'd want us all wearing a big hat.
Because
you love hats.
No, what I do. But what you can do now is you can go to a register office and you can actually just go in. They give you a form each. You read it through. You have a witness with you. It's witnessed and signed. That's it. You're married. I mean, to me, that's fantastic.
Is that how you do
And then,
it?
the party would be admission by big hat only.
Okay. Well, I mean, I absolutely would not get married again. But I would want a party.
Now you say this.
I know, never say never.
Would you?
But I've been married twice and I can't be bothered. I seriously, like the hassle of divorce.
The idea of actually living with another man.
Oh, I don't. Yes, I'd love the idea of living with somebody again. Yeah, of course I do, because I'm fed up of doing all them blue jobs. Blue and pink jobs.
But you mean the commitment of being married to someone? I do remember when I got married for the second time. I remember I finished work on the Wednesday or so. I worked the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Coming from the station, I'd been working in London. I pulled up on the drive at home, knowing that I was getting married on the Saturday, Friday, Saturday, whatever it was, and thinking, "Oh, fuck, I'm getting married." And it felt like a huge commitment. Bearing in mind, I think I just had our 4th kid. It felt bigger than that. It felt bigger than that.
What was that? Because it was quite a big wedding. You'd arranged a big do, and then you've got that responsibility.
It was all of that. Yeah, of course, it was a big wedding, and it was lovely and all that stuff. But it wasn't just. It was the whole. There's no going back from a wedding, is there? Then it's divorce. You can't just say sod this for a game of soldiers.
And that's the problem. So my second marriage was lovely. We got married on the beach in Corfu. And it was beautiful. The day was beautiful. There was 26 of us that went from my local town in the UK and Cornwall. We all met, and we had a week. So we all had a week together, which was fantastic. And it was beautiful. It was magical, absolutely magical. But it's when it doesn't work out, and then you've got the divorce, and you've got property, and you've got this, that, and pensions, and blah 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 like that to sort out. I just find that all quite heartbreaking.
It is, isn't it? It is.
Because you were happy once, weren't you? And it was lovely, and you took your vows and all of that, and it was lovely. But I think if you don't get married, then you can just walk away, and you haven't got that bitterness and nastiness of the divorce.
I had the 2 marriages, and then I was with Michael for 16 years. So of course, when we split, it was like, obviously it felt all of that, but of course there was no legal stuff or nothing financial or anything like that. So it was almost was no big deal from that point of view. Obviously it was a huge deal, but
because you do hear, don't you, lots of people that are going through divorces that are really not good, and then it causes them lots of angst and depression and sadness And even
it's the anger and the bitterness, and you think, do you
Yeah.
know what? You married that person, you loved them, and then what happened?
yeah.
Oh,
That's, so I think if you
sad.
don't get married, then you can just walk away, and you have I found it really traumatic. Both of my divorces, my weddings were lovely, and they were, and I enjoyed being married to both of them, and it was all fine and all lovely. But the divorces were just, I hate animosity. I hate.
She's a big puff.
I'm rubbish. I am.
Yeah, she's a big puff.
I can't bear it.
Oh,
I
I don't
can't
think I can say that
bear-
word.
Yeah. Oh, can't you? I don't know. We don't know what we can
No.
say. Can we? I don't like. I like everything to be lovely, because
Yeah.
I like being in my lovely fluffy world. So I don't like it when there's problems. I hate receiving posts, and I look at posts and I think, oh, if it's something I don't understand or it's not nice,
It worries
I
you.
don't like it. Do you know what I mean? So I just think, so for me, I wouldn't get married for that reason. I wouldn't go into a marriage thinking I was going to get divorced, but I wouldn't want to risk
the fear
of that whole anxiety thing of divorce. I can't bear it.
I don't think we ever will get married this time. Say it'll be 11 years this year, but
No.
there's no real need, and it's
No.
not like we've got kids or anything,
No.
or joint property or anything.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sure we'll work things
Well,
out
I think
for
as
the
long as you've got
future,
a
and that's-
will, I think
yeah.
if you don't get married, then I think it's really important, isn't it, to have a will?
Yeah, we need
because I
that,
think
yeah.
that's when, as long as you've got a will, I don't think it really matters. I don't think there's any
Yeah.
point. And I think you can still have a party. You can have like a commitment party, can't you? So if you wanted to
gotta do some vows or
show
something.
everybody that you
Yeah.
wanted to show the whole world that you loved each other or something, and you want to, any excuse to me to have a party, to be perfectly honest. So I quite happily have a party to go, oh look, I want everybody to see that I love this person.
She's a weirdo, isn't she?
But I don't know.
No, I don't know. For me personally, I don't. Being with Rod in my particular situation, it doesn't need, is it? It's not like we're going to have kids. I mean,
That's true.
He's
Oh, bless
70.
him. Well, you
bless
never know.
him,
Apparently,
this year.
somebody in the news was in their 80s has just had a baby.
Oh,
A
God,
man,
no.
not a woman.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, what we see a lot here in Portugal, in the Algarve, is lots of older men marrying much younger women.
Yeah.
Now, I got a funny feeling. I kind of know why some of the younger women
Well,
might be marrying these older men.
To be fair, I mean, Rod's
Maybe
15 years older than me.
Yeah, but I'm talking
so
like
we're 30
odd
gap.
years
Yeah.
between them,
Yeah.
and it's quite obvious, isn't it? Because the men have got nice big yachts and big villas and things. I kind of get why the young girls would.
Yeah, but in my sort of previous occupation, a few times people sort of said, oh, I'll whisk you away from all of this and I'll marry you and all that, and they're older than me or had loads and loads of money. For me, I'd turn down loads because I didn't love them, and that would have been a really
I know. Me too.
dishonest thing to do.
I have done the same quite recently. I've turned down somebody that was very I can't say any names, but I have turned somebody down.
I know.
So I turned somebody down who was very wealthy, who blah 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 blah, but no, it's not for me. I need to fancy them. I need to, I need to like them a lot. I wouldn't just. But we see it a lot here.
Yeah, there is a lot of that here.
Yeah,
Obviously, you see very gorgeous young ladies who are sort of 25 with an old guy with a walking stick, and you think, okay,
really? Okay.
Yeah.
How's that working
But
for you?
know,
then? Yeah.
I know a guy. I was at his first wedding. I think I've been to most of his weddings, and he got married a couple of years ago for the 5th time. Likes wedding cake, does Ian? But I do remember the first wedding, and it's just one of those things.
Wedding
and if you
cake,
prefer to be, and he's trying to make a public commitment, and he wants to feel that he's gives security. And I don't think there's anything wrong with admitting you've made a mistake. You've had a couple of kids, you've made a mistake, or whatever.
Of course
you want to
not.
move on, and
But
then
it's just
you meet
that-
someone else.
I absolutely don't have a problem with all of that, but I people that go through this trauma of the divorce every time, I couldn't stand it. I've been absolute wreck every time. I'm rubbish at it.
My first one was
rubbish
really
at divorce.
awful.
So I just, for me, what happened with me with my first husband, I know lots of women will relate to this. So when I met my first husband, I was earning good money. I had a good career. And then we got married, and then we had children, and then my husband didn't want anybody else to look after the children except me, so I gave up my career for probably about 15-20 years, because my husband worked 6 days a week. he went and earned the money, and I looked at home and did everything to do with looking after the children and running the house while he went to work and built his business up. So then when we divorced, my career had been put on hold, and I had a very good job and was climbing the ladder. So if I hadn't have given up work for those 15, 20 years, I would have been on a good salary. You know, sky was the limit for me, but I wanted to look after my children. So when it then came to me starting all over again, I had to literally start from scratch again, because we divorced. I then had to go out in the workplace, having not worked for 15, 20 years. I'd done part-time jobs, but not built up my career. They were just part-time jobs that just earned a little bit of extra money. And I think a lot of women, going back, I don't think it happens so much now. I think in a lot of households, both are working, and some women are the breadwinners now. 30 years ago, it wasn't really so much the case, was it? A lot of women were staying at home with the kids. So I think a lot of women will probably relate to this.
So they want compensating for their...
Well,
yeah, I mean, it's fair enough, isn't it?
So when I was going through my first divorce, we actually did a 50-50 split. But I struggled, and he didn't even want me to have that. We had right complications with it. And I said, well, hang on a minute. I've got to try and start again. You've built your business up. You can move forward with your business now. Now, what do I do? I'm not. I loved bringing up my children. Don't get me wrong. But when you've then got to start all over again, it's difficult. And I think a lot of women, struggle with that. And I think if they've got to start all over again, I think we need to be compensated. Funnily enough, I noticed on the news today, they're still talking about how women's salaries are still 15% less than men's now. But for doing the same job.
But one thing that I think doesn't help women, and listen, I'm not an anti-feminist or anything like that. I think women now have employers are struggling. It seems to be loaded against employers now, because a woman has her years and maternity leave, and then what if then she gets pregnant? She wants her second child, and there's another sort of year out that they've taken.
And I do feel sorry.
It's really difficult. Of course, the mum wants to be at home for the first year, but then for an employer, it's a really difficult situation.
And I do think, like, for instance, one of my friends, she's got a hair salon, a beauty salon. So it's all female, really, staff. And, she struggles with that. Still employ somebody, and then not long thereafter
and of course,
they're getting pregnant, which is lovely, but as an employer, you're then...
but women are waiting sort of until they're about early 30s now to have their first baby. And then, of course, they want their second one in quite quick succession. So where does that leave an employer? And an employer must be thinking, do you know what? If I employ a fella, it's going to be better for me. And it must be really difficult.
But I think the rules have changed now. I think the men are getting paternity leave now.
I think
you
share it. And,
sharing it.
Difficult things.
But I think for us, 30 odd years ago, when we had our children, I don't think I had very long maternity leave. I think it's increased now. I think they get longer now. But I only remember getting like full maternity leave for maybe a few weeks, and then it kicked into
something like that, wasn't it?
Maternity, which wasn't much.
I think a lot of it depended on the firm you work for. I worked for a firm in the city of solicitors called Clifford Chance, and I'd been doing continuous contracts with them because that's how it was then. And because I was a temp, I didn't want a full-time everything job because of all the kids, and I didn't want to have to feel loyal to them. And if one of the kids was ill, I was just didn't have to go to work. It was no big deal. So I worked on this sort of ad hoc sort of contract, but I didn't get any maternity pay or anything
and
like
obviously
that.
if you're self-employed, I don't know how it works. If you're self-employed either, I don't know. It's difficult, isn't it? We've gone completely off tangent about getting married, haven't we? So basically, don't get married. It's not worth it, isn't it? It's like hassle, isn't it?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe for a second marriage, when you're maybe now second or third marriage or something, when you've got to the situation. My friend Vanessa, oh bless her, bless you, Vanessa. Hi Vanessa. She's getting married in June in Cyprus. And this will be Vanessa's third marriage. The first one we don't talk about. She really only had this one is going to be fantastic. She's met the love of her life and she's really excited.
Aw.
And yeah, she wants to get
Yeah,
married, and it's
lovely.
going to be all romantic and lovely.
Oh, I love that.
And
just make sure you just sign everything properly. And
yeah,
order.
let's read the small print.
Yes, because while I've been working here, I've been working at quite a few weddings. So in the Algarve, of course, they're beautiful and they're all lovely young couples getting married. You know, their first
Full
time.
of hope and love.
Oh,
No
and
bitterness in there at all.
You know, and I'm like, oh God,
You know what's to come.
Yeah.
Well, they
Yeah,
do
but
say,
it's
don't they? Was it 1 in 3 marriages?
1 in 3 marriages
Sad, isn't it?
fail.
Yeah.
Well, there we are. Well, I mean, look at us. Between us, we've had how many? 4
Well, I
failed
think,
marriages.
yeah. I mean, I think of my relationship with Michael. You know, that was a marriage. It was like it was just hard work, you know. But it's like I feel like I'm on my 4th now.
Yeah.
And let's just not bother again. I'm too old.
And I'd like to think, you know, that my first marriage, because I have my 2 children, it's not failed, is it? You know, you say failed marriage, but
It's not, no.
we were together 20 years and I got 2 wonderful children. So, you know, it's not. I don't know. I don't even know what the right word
Look,
is.
we make mistakes, don't they? We grow, we become different people, we change, you know.
Yeah, it's just not for me. I'm not doing it again. So if anybody out there is thinking of asking me, let me know.
And she'll let you know. It depends. If you've got a yacht in Monte Carlo,
Yeah,
she'll
then
let you know.
maybe. Okay, then
yeah.
maybe.
But you know, works for some, like Marianne, like Vanessa. You know,
Yeah,
some of my
lovely,
friends
lovely.
who are doing it.
Lovely.
Apart from Denise, forever the bridesmaid. Denise has never been married. She wants.
Well, good
I think,
for you, Denise.
I think you should, darling.
Oh.
I think
Has
you
she got
should.
a boyfriend?
Simon, she's been with him forever. Simon, just
Oh,
God's
Simon.
sakes,
Come on,
ask
get down
her,
on one knee.
ask her, just so we can all be bridesmaids, all of us, me and Tracy,
No
and
pressure,
everyone.
Simon. No pressure.
I think you should
No
say.
pressure.
No, he goes home to his own house every night.
Oh, now I like that. Now that's another show, isn't it? I like that. I like
know.
that. Yes. love
Anyway,
that.
on that note, love to you all. See you soon. Bye.